Hey everyone, and welcome to this breaking news explainer. Today, we're tracking a rapidly developing global health story that definitely has authorities on high alert. We're going to cut right through the noise, focus strictly on the facts, the response, and ultimately what this all means for you. Right off the bat, let's just get straight into it. At this very moment, international health agencies are absolutely scrambling to contain a rare and, yes, deadly pathogen. A hantavirus outbreak has officially sparked a global alert, with multiple cases popping up across different countries. And just to be clear, this isn't some historical case study we're looking at. This is an active, real-time situation making major headlines around the world right now. Now, you see a headline with the words deadly outbreak and global alert, and your mind probably goes right to the worst case scenario. It's totally natural to feel some anxiety there. So the really crucial question we need to ask today is, with this outbreak starting on a cruise ship, just how much danger are we actually in? Over the next few minutes, we're going to strip away all that sensationalism and just look at the hard data to give you the clear, factual context. Let's start with Section 1, breaking down the outbreak. It all starts with this specific vessel. The origin point of this entire global alert has been directly linked to the Dutch expedition cruise ship, the MV Hondius. The timeline for this kicks off back in April 2026, when the ship departed from Argentina. During that particular voyage, several passengers began falling inexplicably ill, developing these really severe flu-like symptoms. So where are we at right this second? Well, based on the official agency reports, we are dealing with multiple confirmed infections. And because cruise ship passengers obviously scatter across the globe once a trip ends, we now have individuals quarantined across the United States, Europe, and South Africa. On top of that, the World Health Organization is aggressively monitoring the situation. The tricky thing about this virus is that it has a notoriously long incubation period, which means, unfortunately, we could potentially see more cases crop up in the coming weeks. And we do have to talk about the severity here, because tragically, there are already 3 confirmed deaths. It's a really stark number, and it's a sobering reminder that even though the overall case numbers might seem relatively small at this moment, the pathogen we're dealing with is incredibly serious and has to be handled with absolute caution. Okay, moving on to Section 2, understanding the hantavirus. So what exactly is this? Well, hantavirus is rare, but it is extremely serious, and it's primarily spread by infected rodents. When a person gets infected, those early symptoms heavily mimic the flu. We're talking sudden fever, really intense muscle pain, severe headaches, fatigue, the whole 9 yards. But the major red flag that emergency room doctors are specifically looking for, that would be severe breathing difficulty. And those breathing issues can escalate super fast into what's known as hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, or HPS. This is the exact medical progression that health officials are on high alert for right now. It's a really severe and sometimes fatal condition that rapidly floods the lungs with fluid, completely compromising the respiratory system. Now, how does a person actually catch this? Usually, it's from direct contact with infected rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. A lot of times, people breathe in contaminated aerosolized dust while they're sweeping out a shed or a cabin. But here's the absolute most critical detail of this particular story. This outbreak involves the Endes strain of the virus. And the Endes strain is uniquely dangerous because it's one of the very few types of hantavirus actually capable of limited human-to-human transmission, especially in poorly ventilated, closed-off spaces. Kind of exactly like a cruise ship. Which brings us right into Section 3. Is this another pandemic? Because of that alarming detail about human-to-human transmission, I know exactly what you're probably wondering. It's the same question dominating everyone's social media feeds right now. Is this another COVID-19? Whenever a localized outbreak on an international cruise ship makes global news, it's literally impossible not to draw those parallels and feel that familiar sense of dread from early 2020. Well, you can take a deep breath because the definitive answer from the experts is unequivocally no. Based strictly on the consensus from the World Health Organization and the CDC, the overall public risk remains very low. Yes, the Andes strain can jump between humans, but that spread is incredibly limited. It is nowhere near rapid enough to fuel a global pandemic. And the science behind why this isn't a widespread pandemic threat is actually pretty straightforward. It all comes down to the mechanics of transmission. Hantavirus requires direct contact with rodent waste, or very prolonged, intimate contact to spread between people. COVID-19, on the flip side, was a highly contagious airborne respiratory virus that could just sweep through a population. The simple fact is, hantavirus just doesn't possess the biological tools required for rapid global spread. All right, let's look at Section 4, the global containment response. Now, just because the pandemic risk is low doesn't mean health authorities are just kicking back and relaxing. Not at all. A massive, rapid, international dragnet is currently underway. Authorities are taking zero chances. Here we're seeing incredibly robust, immediate actions taken across the globe by the US, Spain, the Netherlands, Italy, France, and the WHO. It's this coordinated, multinational effort designed to completely isolate any potential exposures before the virus can find a local foothold anywhere else. Let's actually map this containment out so you can see how it works. The US jumped in aggressively, evacuating and quarantining their returning passengers right away. Over in Europe, Spain and the Netherlands have successfully isolated and tested passengers linked to that Hondius voyage. At the same time, Italy and France are actively investigating any possible exposure chains. And coordinating the whole shebang, the WHO has activated extensive international contact tracing. When you see it laid out like this, you realize just how precise and systematic these tactics are for keeping the general public safe. Let's wrap things up with Section 5, staying safe and informed. So, what can you actually do? Well, even though the big picture risk is low, hantavirus is still a reality in many rural parts of the world. So here is your everyday playbook. First, obviously, avoid contact with rodents and anywhere they might nest. Second, if you're cleaning out a dusty space, think sheds, barns, or cabins, always wear a mask and gloves. Third, and this is super important, never sweep rodent waste while it's dry. Doing that just kicks those viral particles right up into the air, where you breathe them in. Always spray it down with a disinfectant first. And of course, just wash your hands thoroughly after doing any outdoor work or cleaning up storage areas. I think this quote from health experts really hits the nail on the head. They're officially calling this outbreak serious but controllable. They point out that previous hantavirus outbreaks in Argentina were contained through strict isolation and rapid response measures. The main takeaway for us is that science and really strict protocols have successfully beaten this specific strain before. There is a proven playbook for this, and it's being executed flawlessly by the pros right now. Look, in today's digital age, we all know panic and misinformation spread way faster than any actual virus. So the absolute best thing you can do to stay safe is just stay informed through official updates from trusted sources. We're talking the CDC and the WHO. Ignore those sensationalized rumors flooding your news feeds. Rely on the actual data, trust the medical experts, and simply monitor your own health if you think you've recently been exposed to a rodent habitat. Which leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on as we finish up. Right now, international contact tracing is doing a fantastic job aggressively locking down this specific virus. But as global travel and expedition tourism just keep expanding, how will our surveillance networks need to evolve to stop the next rare pathogen before it even leaves the port? The MV Hondius incident is definitely proving to be a modern containment success story, but it's also a major wake-up call for the future of global health security. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, stay focused on the facts, and above all, stay safe out there.